All right. So this is also for our guest. Um, how do we get over? Okay, so Mordant does a live stage show
Oh, okay.
multiple times a day as Raphael Tortuga, and he's done that for a very long time.
Long
And
time since
he's
1987. Way back
absolutely,
before they had anything. There's no interwebs.
we lived in black and white back then.
We
Uh,
in black and white.
um, and you make it look easy. And I remember
Now,
just being, well, I'm sure now, but that's the point, right? You didn't start off that great. And I remember being surprised at some point we were starting to do our own stage show. We were doing a Success Freaks motivational conference.
speaking.
And yeah, speaking it, and you're like, oh, I gotta practice. Like, you do this for a living. Like, no, it's different. And it blew my mind. So I wanted to ask you, well, obviously at some point you're like, I have to get a little drink in me if I'm going to sing karaoke, because everybody sings bad karaoke, but I get nervous about it because I want to sing good karaoke and I'm not gonna.
It's out of your wheelhouse. It's out of your comfort zone.
So how did you get past your stage fright or whatever was stopping you to get what you wanted, to do what you do?
Everything happens in degrees. When the first thing I ever did on a stage, I had to audition, and I was going to play the elf at the Bay Area Renaissance Festival in 1984 in Florida. And he said, go up on the stage and do your elf character. And I did a very animalistic thing, but I was so nervous. And, that was that character. And eventually I would do that with people, because I got hired to do it, and I would do it with customers that would come in. Doing stage work is the same thing. Everything happens in degrees. You work it until it becomes comfortable and becomes normal for you. And now I can stand in front of crowds of 3,000 people or more and be goofy and make them laugh, because it's my comfort zone. I've gotten used to it. It's taken me time to do it. We have 5 different shows that we're working right now. We've written about 7 plus a couple to 2 or 3 theater shows. And anything that's just a little bit out of your wheelhouse. Like for me, I can do a Renaissance Festival show, especially with my guys. I know my guys, when we write in each other's voices. So we know this person's going to say this, so he's probably going to sound like this. But you asked me to speak in front of a crowd, and I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to be really nervous. Also, when we have any kind of downtime, because of my ADD, when it comes time for me to do the shows again, I will find them on YouTube and start watching them and start saying the lines with it, so that I know that I remember, because I know I'm easily distracted, and that because I'm the most distracted on stage, I have to study the most so that it can look natural. It can look easy. The best way for you, if you're going to try to do something and you're like podcasting, oh, I've never done this before, I don't know how to speak in front of people, doing videos. If you see any of the mini video reasons I'm not doing videos right now, because I haven't done it in a while. I haven't exercised those muscles. So I'm nervous about it. I'm not sure what I would say. The first time doing something is not going to be your best time. It's going to be your worst time. Your first time is going to be your worst time. Eventually you're going to grease those muscles. You're going to work those muscles, and it'll be natural. And if you do it enough time, we were doing the other side of live, and then Success Freaks. And now you're doing this live. And we've talked to other podcasters like, I can't see how you would do a live show. Well, we do it because we do it. And it's easier for us than having, let's stop, let's redo it, and just have somebody else edit it out. So the best way to be able to get over that stage fright is to do it and continue to do it. Start small. Don't start on a big production of something. You do community theater, do a Renaissance Festival where you're just, talking to 3 or 4 people for 5 minutes, and then you walk 20 feet and suddenly you have a new audience to talk to. Try those bits didn't work. Okay, let me change it a little bit so that see if these bits will work over here. Oh, look, that worked a little better. Let me try that a little bit. Whenever a comedian is going to go speak at, I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but he was talking about how he was going to speak at Madison Square Gardens and do his comedy show. He would do all these other small gigs, small comedy places, so that he could work out the kinks. So he could try the jokes. Oh, that one didn't work as well. Let me try it this way. Okay, these jokes aren't selling. Let's get rid of this. So by the time he got done and he went all the way to Madison Square Garden, his set was primed and ready to go. And there was like no mistakes. all the jokes were funny because he had time to work it out. Everything happens in degrees. And you just got to be able to put yourself outside of your comfort zone, and that will enable you to do it.
Do you ever go back and watch some of your earlier videos that you're doing for Mordant World TV? Because we were talking pre-show, and I was like, man, they really were. And I just remember specifically there was one, I think it might have been in Atlanta, but you brought your phone on the stage, you kind of step back a little bit, and you had a great backdrop of the sun either coming up or going down, because I can't remember if it was morning or evening. But you're talking about just you're being raw and real and talking about something you're dealing with and learning about yourself, and an exchange I think you didn't really like how you handled it, and this is what you want to learn from it, and it just resonated so well. You go back and look at those to say, maybe I should just fire from the hip some.
Every once in a while, I'll look at that. I'll if I go back, I usually like to listen to Success Freaks, because I'm like, well, is there anything that I'm dealing with now that I need to hear? Something like that.
Yeah.
The videos I haven't, and maybe I should, because it'd be fun to do it every once in a while. I think it would drive my wife crazy. I got to do a video now. Really? It's dinner time. Why? Really? Or maybe she'd love it. I don't know. Carolina, she's letting me know. Carolina is 8 weekends, October 5th to November 24th, Saturday and Sunday.
Go give them some money.
Carolina Renaissance Festival. So. What you need?
I'm sure we have some archives of Success Freaks somewhere. And see, I'm the opposite. That's where we've always balanced, is you helped me learn how to deliver lines. Like when we gave a speech to headline our own conference, and man, because I'm like, I don't want to practice. I like being in the moment. I like being real. And like, no, trust me. Well, one, if we're going to do it together, this is how I have to do it. So get with the program, Sally. Let's go. Level up, Buttercup, I believe is what you were saying.
That's right.
And so we'd be up the studio was over the garage in, so it's almost like a finished attic. And we'd be up there standing and walking, practicing movements and timing it and doing everything. And went, practice doesn't take no random, kid. It is not. Okay. You don't get to take just random things I say and make them nicknames. So sorry, it distracted me. But I was learning, I can still tell the story. Remember, this is a better refinement. That was a rough part, and I refined. But I can still remember the energy and deliver the line. Because we also, you and I, had to do, I think we were trying to get prepped. We had to do a video for the podcast awards, because we've been nominated for the podcast awards. And we did that over and over. And that, again, showed me, it's like, this is how, not that I'm on a par with professional comedians who do it for a living. But this is how they do that TV show or that commercial. And it's funny. You go, man, I've never heard that. It was hilarious, but they've probably done it 100 times. And so when we hit the stage, I was sick as a dog. I mean, I had
you were
flu, and I was just pounding Advil. But because we had practiced it, I was able to deliver everything with impact and from my heart, and change it slightly in the moment as needed. And you taught me that. But I think hopefully, I think I broke you out of some of your comfort zone of I was everything live. I was like, well, and screw it, man, just put up a video. Let's talk. Let's go.
It helps the improv. If you practice it enough times, it's just getting used to where you're comfortable. And then you can, once you're comfortable, you're not worried about hitting all those marks. Then you can throw in the little bit of improv, and it slides in and out. What you taught me was being able to do a live thing and being able to shoot from the hip, to depend on your partner. Like I said before, I was probably in the pre-show that Charles can talk for days.
Yeah,
you give him a topic, you can talk for days. It's not an insult. It's high praise.
He doesn't even need someone else to talk for days. He can just talk to himself for days.
Yeah. And then I feel I'm good for about 2 to 3 minute spurts, and then it's time to let something else come in. And he would be like, you need to talk more. I'm like, all right, take a breath and I'll jump in. As soon as we can find that.
Yeah.
And we did. We found our balance that way.
Yeah.
So we worked well off each other like that. And I'm sure you guys do as well. I do wish Joe would talk more.
Joe loves the guests. I'm not gonna lie. Joe loves punching me, and he loves the guests.
All right.
But now Joe, though, I'm sure you've had to overcome something that was keeping you back.
I mean, Yeah,
Charles.
all kinds. Yeah, Charles is holding me down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff throughout your life that's going to hold you back, whether it's being awkward as a teenager. So many teenagers are held back by their awkwardness, and you find that those that end up in leadership positions are those that push through their awkwardness. At least that's what I found as a teenager. Whether it's awkwardness, whether it's just getting over yourself. I mean, the biggest influence in your life is yourself, and sometimes you just got to stop being your own hindrance. There's so many things in your life that can get in your way, and you just got to run them over.
He is the most aggressive, mean Mormon I have ever met. And he says it with that welcome to Jesus land smile. It's like,
and then he runs them over.
Run him over because God loves them. He wants to beat them right now.
There's a saying that there are no comedians out there with a healthy, happy childhood. I think it was Jim Carrey said comedy is anger. So, if you're a lot of the people who do stand up and who go on to have great careers did not have a great childhood or teenage or high school life, and they had to work through that. They had to find the comedy in that. They had to find whatever it is that helped them to deal with that. Some people go on stage and perform. Some people talk in a show and help others. Like that dad we were talking to, he may be paving the way for somebody else once he figures it out. So it's like you're lending a hand to help somebody else along the way. This is how I did it. Now let's get you to a point where you can find out how you can do it. And I think Joe's absolutely right on that. You just find your own way to work through that stuff. And if you're able to make a career out of it, or even just help people, even a side hustle or a hobby that gives you peace, that feeds your soul, then you've done something at the end of the day.
You mentioned, yeah, good on you, Joe. He doesn't have to talk a lot. He's impactful with the few words that he uses.
Hugh 141 says comedy is a coping mechanism. Absolutely. I agree.
Good old Hugh.
Yep. Was it tragedy plus time is comedy?
Yeah.
Or comedy is tragedy plus time. Yeah.
And you talk about sometimes there's that person in the audience who maybe ask a question or responds. That's what I try to do at any conference or class I'm in. If I find it funny, I don't just giggle under my breath like, haha, that's funny. I try to laugh loud because I know what it's like to be somebody dropping jokes and nobody's laughing. Like these guys, they're not laughing at my jokes. That's okay. Yeah.
Man, I had days. I'm sorry, I am going to interject. I've had days where Ron and Jeff are the two guys I work with. They play Scaramouche and D'Angelo. So Ron will say something, everybody laugh. Jeff will say something, everybody laugh. I will say something, nothing. And then a few minutes later, nothing. And then I'm like, all right, Ricky, stick to the script. You're not funny today. Don't do it. So yeah, I know what that's like.
So I try to give that laugh, right? Or as you address a crowd, even when you're playing with the audience, you ask a question, you need somebody to play back a little bit for a minute. And so I try to be, usually for me, it's questions. You ask a question, I'll try to throw out, even if it's a dumb answer, here's an answer, because that silent room is horrible. Because you always need that. Joe did that for me. When we did the game show at Southern Fried Gaming Expo, it's a solo one-man show that really is an excuse to work on crowd work and improv work. But it's nice to have a plant in the audience. Yeah. That I know I know my vicious line with him and how mean I can be with him. Cause that's my take. As surprising, I know my take is aggressive audience attack comedy, but, he was really, I always walk more to help me here. This is still this is about how to get over stage fright stuff. I don't care how much I've done. I don't care how many times I can get up with a microphone. I get it now. When you said, no, doing the Tortuga Twin things, that's different than going on and speaking about what we're speaking about. And I get it a little bit now of, I've done my game show solo I did it with a partner for a while and things happened and I had to develop a new project. And it has hit well every time, but tell you, man, every time I start to walk in a room, like nobody knows what this is. Nobody's going to show up. I kind of don't want people to show up. It's okay. I'll set up. Oh, well, nobody came. Let's just go home. It's fine. And it filled the room. And even then I'm like trying to warm up people. I'm thinking, oh, they don't think I'm funny. And so it helped that Joe was there laughing. And then I just, cause we do this show every week and they didn't know that. And it wasn't the show, but it's like, oh, we can take some of that show banter there. And it was very, very helpful. So I'm glad I was there for you for the stage stuff, and I'll always be there, for you. And I cannot say it enough. I haven't probably seen your show in a few years now, because I know your paths have taken y'all away from Georgia. But every time I caught the show, no matter how much I worked with Ricky, no matter how much I talked with him, how mad or personal we got with each other, I'm like, listen to the jokes. I could quote some of the jokes from some of the regular shows. The radar show is all improv pretty much, but the other shows they're on script. And yet I'm like, oh man, the way you changed the delivery of that line, and it made it so much funnier, man. And it just makes me laugh every time. And you're a consummate performer, and it's
Thanks,
awesome.
Sir. And we have a new show too that we're working on the last couple of years, and we're still workshopping it. The Snow White show. So it's a lot of fun.
Can't wait.
And we may be doing a short stint in Georgia next year for their 35th annual, whatever it is.
Okay.
Their 50th. I don't know what it is, but they're bringing back some older people. So,
and there's a second competing. I don't think it's the same people. There's a second competing festival that's starting up in the fall now.
No, it's the same people.
Is it same people?
Okay. Same. They did that before a few years ago, and I didn't know if that worked or not, but they're trying it again.
Yeah, I just saw commercials. So I don't know.